Thank you so much, Sundar, for the introduction. A very warm welcome to the audience today. After the very interesting session on insulin injection techniques, what we had, which is a very important topic because of the psychological insulin resistance we face for a lot of our patients. Thank you for that excellent presentation. So, today my task is I'm going to focus on the core technological aspects of how we could have diabetes remission using a very advanced artificial intelligence technology, what we use in Twin Health. Right, so I'm just sharing my slide. Okay, if someone could just confirm whether the screen is visible.
Yeah, it's visible, sir.
Okay, thank you so much. So, just to set the context correct, as all of us know, maybe a century before, the major burden of diseases were the infectious diseases, right? People used to die due to tuberculosis, cholera, smallpox, before all the vaccines came in. We know that that was a huge burden that we had as far as the healthcare industry is concerned world over, right? So, but with the modern pharma coming in, with the antibiotics and vaccines, the equation is completely reversed. So you see here, the infectious diseases related mortality is very low, I would say. Of course, it's still a problem in a lot of the countries, but still, the burden is much lower than what it was before. Now, the burden is more on the chronic diseases. People are living longer. If the life expectancy is longer, it is natural that we are prone to more prone to metabolic conditions like type 2 diabetes, dyslipidemia, hypertension, as such. So that's where a technology like whole body digital twin will be revolutionary because it's about the damaged metabolism. Every person who comes with type 2 diabetes, right, there is a core damaged metabolic pattern that we see. We talk about ominous octet and 12 defective pathways in type 2 diabetes. That's a pathophysiological understanding of type 2 diabetes, right? So though they are focusing on the metabolic damage in type 2 diabetes. So the whole idea of a technology like this is to understand that picture for every patient, which is going to be unique. And that understanding of that core metabolism is only possible by a technology like this, right? For some patient, it may be insulin resistance, which is the major problem. Some patient, it may be low beta cell function. Some patient, it may be higher amount of, adipocyte-related inflammatory markers. So many parameters come into the picture. So that understanding, that mapping of that metabolism is the core factor there. Once that is being done, the technology is able to make a blueprint, make a complete map of that patient's metabolism over a period of time as the patients engage. And the technology is able to give precise recommendations as far as nutrition, activity, sleep, and all that is concerned. So when they follow that, they're augmenting the body's capacity to heal back to full health. So that's a very, very comprehensive view of what Twin Health is all about. So Twin Health at a glance is basically about achieving in reversal of chronic metabolic conditions, not only type 2 diabetes. We are seeing phenomenal results in dyslipidemia, hypertension, fatty liver, obesity, remarkable improvement in all these parameters. And we have been able to reduce medications for these comorbid conditions also. So Twin Health believes in randomized controlled trials. We have a full-fledged research wing where we ensure that the research protocol is the quality of the RCTs are very well maintained, and we are able to get the visibility through various medical bodies and medical journals so that people appreciate the scientific flavor of the program that we are having. So if you see here, the core idea why a person ends up with diabetes or hypertension or fatty liver, obesity is the disruptive metabolism, what I talked about before. Modern medicine has the viewpoint of breaking every particular condition as a separate entity and treat that condition. That's why we have polypharmacy as the burden. Elderly person, so many medications they take. Still, the conditions are not under control. That's the problem we are facing. So, if we have a solution where we can address the disrupted metabolic picture, naturally you're going to have a positive impact on all these chronic comorbid conditions. That is where we are able to improve the health of a person. The goal of healthcare should be to improve the health of a person, right? Ultimately, not just making patients to be dependent on more and more medications for life, right? So that's where a technology like this can be a big boon. So I would like to just summarize a few data from the RCT that we have published in various journals, right? So, like I mentioned, it's about precision nutrition, precision activity, precision sleep. The core factors which determine our day-to-day routine, what determines our inner metabolic function, they are looked at. They are tweaked at a nano level to improve that particular component for a period of time. So this is what we published at ADA last year, right? And ADA, in fact, had a press meet for Twin Health exclusively. So this is the number that we saw at day 60, 360-day completion, 88% in reversal. And remission is the term we generally like to use as clinicians. So we're saying the remission is 76.5% in the RCT. That is, we have been able to have sustained the normalization of HbA1c over a period of time, and we have been able to stop all the medications. So that is a huge remission number, actually. Even the Verta and other trials, we have a much lower number than this, what we have seen in the last few years. This is where the beauty of a technology like this makes a difference. Otherwise, it's literally not possible. So again, this is a summary of the RCT. It's not just diabetes. It's also hypertension, dyslipidemia, TG-HDL ratio, obesity, CVD Q risk, right? 79% improvement in Q risk or normalization of Q risk is a very important thing. We know diabetes is the cardiac equivalent. Someone has type 2 diabetes, you can already assume the patient has already had a heart attack or a coronary event. So 79% of those patients, we are able to normalize the Q risk. And you see the pancreatic beta cells, that is the HOMA2B markers. We are saying dramatic improvement, normalization. Inflammatory markers, fatty liver scores, 72% we are able to see the liver enzymes coming back to baseline. And sonological evidence also of fatty liver tremendously coming back to health. So this is why it's a holistic healing process. It is not about focusing just on the blood sugar and trying to reduce it. We need to look at the metabolism as a whole unit. After all, the body is one whole unit. We can look at blood sugar as one entity, blood pressure as one entity. Everything has interdependability at the metabolic level, right? We know one particular aldosterone axis can influence also diabetes, can also influence hypertension. So when the metabolism heals, we find that all these conditions tremendously improve over a period of time. So in the RCT, we have been able to eliminate all the drugs in a period of around 3 to 4 months. RCT, the protocol is very stringent. We ensure we take only those patients who have given us the commitment that they'll adhere very well for the period of 1 year. That is why we see phenomenal results, actually. But of course, real world evidence might be a little different. We won't have those numbers, what I showed you. It will be a little lower because real world, in the commercial aspect of the real world, when we offer it to our patients, so many variables come in. How much they are adhering, there may be challenges in between that come in. So it won't be as perfect as this. But in the RCT, we see phenomenal results where we are able to stop all drugs and still have a very, very normal, healthy HbA1c as what I've shown before. So this is also just to highlight that in PCOS also we have seen PCOS we haven't looked into in the RCT, but case by case scenarios we have seen that patients have improved. We have had the primary infertility patient. This was actually a primary infertility patient who she conceived. She was one of her employees actually, and she conceived. And you can see her sonographic evidence of PCOS is also actually it's actually improved. And this paper, which we published at Metabolism Journal, we find that even the testosterone levels improve for the male population. And we know for type 2 diabetes with obesity, secondary hypogonadism is a major problem. The testosterone level tends to be low, right? Which is contributing a lot to the damaged metabolism. So because these parameters improve, we have seen that the free testosterone levels actually increase from 399 to 460. This is the mean value for the population in a matter of 90 days. So you can imagine as the patient continues to engage further, how much improvement we can expect. So this is why it's a holistic healing. And this is the ADA presentation we had last year, 3 papers, and one of it was a media briefing, as you can see here, right? ADA came up with a media briefing talking about those numbers, what I presented earlier on. So many international journals we have published, Journal of Endocrine Society, International Journal on Obesity, European Heart Journal, very, very eminent journals we have been able to get our work published through. So this is one of our patients. We have taken his permission, of course, before we show his identity here. So, so how this particularly works, I'll come to that in the next slide. So this is his parameters currently, 260 days completion. 12.3 was his HbA1c initially. 260 days, 6.5. He was on a high dose of insulin, a typical obese type 2 diabetes patient, but insulin has been stopped. And he had previously undergone, I believe a CABG, if I'm not wrong. He had a cardiac complication before. So taking into consideration all that, the cost is also dramatically lower. He's very much happy with the protocol and he's continuing to do well in the program. So how does it happen? It's all about the atomic level experience. What is atomic level experience? See, every day when you do something, when you see a positive change within you, you will continue to do the right things. See, if I know reading a book daily will improve my perspective on things around me in the world, I will continue to do the habit no matter what. If it is causing a positive change in my outlook, I will continue to do that habit on a daily. It becomes part of your identity. So similar thing, daily when a patient is engaging with the program, they see that when they do this particular thing, they have taken exactly 80 grams of protein in their diet for the day. They see that the sugars have improved by this particular level, which the technology predicted. They are very much motivated. So that visibility is there for the patients every day. They see the impact of it when they look into the app. The metabolic score also improves day by day when they look at it, and they are in the right direction. So that is what we say an impact at the nano level. Micro actions are being addressed at a day-to-day level. So when that continues over a period of 1 year, it becomes a sustainable habit. So it's a change in the biology of the body with the belief system. The person believes that, see, doing this is making a positive change by seeing the results. So that further drives the biology to change to a positive direction. That further drives the belief. So that's how it works, right? So it's an amazing way of changing the body's metabolic patterns over a period of time. So the key sensor that we use in a protocol like this is we want to build the whole body digital twin for every patient in the program. That's the whole idea of it, which is an exact replica. See, we know the fingerprint is so unique. This is why we use it as an ID. So you can imagine how unique the metabolic picture is. So that mapping is being done by the technology. 3,000 plus signal points are being collected on a daily basis through key sensors like the CGM, BP monitor, ketone monitor in appropriate cases, body composition scale, fitness activity tracker. Every quarter, the blood work is done. Every day, the patient has to engage with the app, right? Whatever symptoms, nutrition logs, everything. So that's so much of data point is flowing in. So the technology on the back end is trying to understand that person. Okay, this is what is happening. The data is showing this. The figures are changing with that. So it is trying to build a picture. It's like building a house. You start from the foundation, you lay the bricks, you go step by step, step by step, step by step, and finally interior designing, and then you have the complete house which is built. So you see the changes from a day-to-day basis. So similarly, the technology is doing a building of that person's inner metabolism on the back end. So that is able to guide the person further and further as far as nutrition, activity, sleep, breathing is concerned. And of course, medications are completely decided by the doctors. The technology does not recommend to change medications because that is not ethically correct also. The doctors will decide depending on the improvement in the sugars. Doctor will reduce the medication or make changes. When the doctor feels the medicines can be stopped, looking at the positive results, doctor takes the decision. So that's how the technology works. And the nutrition is a very rich database, 87 nutrient elements. It's not just about protein, fat, carbs. Micronutrients are so important. Microbiota of the gut is so important. You take a fruit, an apple, it doesn't have just protein, carb, and fat. It has so many microelements. So all the diet which focus on protein, carb restriction, they are so very, very crude, because they don't address the core aspect how a diet should be holistic. So if the patient requires more of omega-3 fatty acids, depending on the analysis, the diet will be automatically made in a way which is rich in that particular nutrient. I'll just give you an example. So that's what we call precision nutrition. So sleep and activity also, if it sees that the REM sleep is a problem through the analysis, certain measures are given to improve the REM sleep. So all these are examples I'm just giving you, right? So that's how when the patient starts following it, they are repairing the body's damaged state because the body is now getting what it requires through the recommendation. So it is natural that they will come back to the state of better and better for a period of time. So 16 terabytes is the primary database size. It's very huge. See, the US Library, Congress Library has a database of 10 terabytes. The largest library you can imagine. It's the government's library there. So here, 16 terabytes, you can imagine how huge the size is. So this database with AI is not based on some flimsy technology where it was built in few days and is being implemented. It took many, many years to come to a state where it is in the current level of sophistication. So because the database is so huge, for every member who joins, it has already a blueprint existing, but it continues to refine it depending on that person's presentation. The beauty of an AI system is It works similar to the brain. It is neural networking. It sees the patient, it continues to learn. That is the beauty of it. Every day it continues to learn with the patient and guides the patient further and further. So that's how sophisticated the AI technology is. And this is what I was talking to you about. All these nutrient elements are looked into. It is not just about protein, carbs, and fats. So this is the real-time experience the patient gets in the program. So if you see here, so the app for the patient today says, take a 20-minute walk after your meal. Your sugars will drop by 24 points. That is what the patient sees, and he does it. That motivates the patient. If the app says, instead of two slices, take one slice, your sugars will drop another 24 points. That is exactly what the patient will see. If the exact results are being seen, that further motivates the patient. If the app says you should take 1 tablespoon of trans fat, when we're going low carb, we have to increase certain healthy fats, which have shown positive benefits. There, the sugars further drop. So the patient is able to appreciate the changes on a real time basis. If that happens, they will continue to be motivated on a daily basis. So initial effort is required, of course, because they have to start engaging. So what we have seen is if the patients were committed in the first 3 months, they would have formed a habit after that. They will continue to be on the right path. Is that habit forming which takes a delta effort in the initial phase. If they are committed to come out of this condition, if they develop a habit with this over a period of few months, 3 months, they will continue to see excellent results further and further. So the whole body discipline becomes a complete replica for every patient by around 6 months. By around first month it's around 80% complete, 2 to 6, 90% complete. 6 months, it's a complete replica. It's a twin of that person, which is really different from another person, right? And it doesn't stop there. It continues to evolve. So let's say now it's an exact replica, but if a patient ends up with some other condition, if they get COVID, the metabolic picture changes, inflammatory markers increase. So the technology also tries to understand at that point what something is wrong, what is happening, it tries to learn further and guide the patient further. So that's why it keeps evolving. Program also gets easier. Initially, all the sensors are needed, food logs are needed, but then later point, number of sensors become very. So program also gets easier. So this is to show how for every patient the recommendations are unique. See, these 3 patients in our program, no 2 patients have the same recommendation. One person has more of nutrition, another person has more of activity. Now the difference in minor percentages, that is what makes a difference. That is why it's called precision medicine. Right? I'm running a little fast because we are short of time. So I just another 3 or 4 slides I should be done. So this is exactly to show, as we know, for every type 2 diabetes patient, the metabolic response for every food is different. It's a magnified view of that, what you're looking here. These are 50 patients. Each patient has a different metabolic response. We know that, right? Now, this is one of our patients in the program. When they joined the program, most of the foods were having bad metabolic response, so red color. But as they continue, starts turning green over a period of 1 year. That is, the metabolism is healed. So that means initially 100 grams of maybe brown rice was a problem. I'm just giving an example. Sugars were going very high. At the end of the program, if things are going really well, introduction of that same item, healthy carb, we can say, actually causes a normal response, which is why we say the metabolism is healing, right? It is not healthy carbs have to be introduced when possible, right? It is not that you follow completely zero carbs for life. That is not a healthy principle. Whenever possible, there should be some amount of healthy carbs. So that is how we are able to reintroduce that at a point of time. And it is a 1 year protocol. So patients join and they see very good values improving the first 3 months. Then they should not assume, okay, values are good, medicines have been reduced or stopped. Let's not continue the program. That will definitely not result in good outcomes in the future because we know the metabolic damage has not happened overnight. It can start, right? Beta cells are depleted to a great extent. So the metabolic memory is hugely dysfunctional in type 2 diabetes. Patients should not assume 2, 3 months sugars are getting better. The whole problem is fixed. That is where we spend a lot of effort in educating our patients day one. You have to continue until the remission is being sustained, right? And that healing process goes further and further and further at the deeper level at the period at the end of 1 year of the program. So that commitment, if it's there, patients continue to see fantastic results over a period of 1 year. So ultimately, The program is about how to keep the patient happy and healthy. The diet recommendations are also in a way where it is trying to ensure that the recommendations are close to what the patient's choices are. But of course, there'll be changes in the diet plan because that's the whole idea of the healing process. But it will try to bring in a balance based on the patient's preferences, right? So it leads to a healthier and happier you over the period of time. So in summary, I would like to say, if we want to look at the remission of type 2 diabetes, unless we have a technology like this, it is literally not possible. You may claim a lot of things, so we can claim a lot of, I'm just finishing with the last sentence. We can claim a lot of things that, with CGM, we can monitor, we can avoid this food. That's not the whole idea. If you want to heal the metabolism, unless the technology's visibility is there, you never know what is best for the patient's metabolism to heal. That's where a technology like this can be a game changer. So thank you for the time, and over to the panel. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Rohit. I think that was a very new and different topic for most of us.